Hey, what's up everyone, Morey Croson here, and we have a brand new breakdown on Tyquan Thornton, and we're gonna start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, this is one of my favorite times of the year. Breaking down 40s is something that I love to do. We can really get a lot of great information about how to maximize your start, how to really make sure we can go into our drive phase very effectively, and then also get into our top end speed. I have a football background, and so, looking at the 40 and seeing how people are able to get to their top speeds is awesome, and also obviously all the quarterback stuff as well. And so we're gonna go ahead and start off with Tyquan Thornton just to give you a little bit more information about him. He is 6'3", 182 pounds, so he's tall and he's lean. And, honestly, I think there's a lot of things that he could have done better here, which is, obviously, when you run 4.2, I mean, he made news here by running 4.21, but ended up officially coming back to 4.28, I want to say. It could have been 4.29. I want to say it's 4.28, which is still a great time, right? But it all ends up going into how can we maximize each hundredth of a second. Now, there's some things he did really well, and then there's some things that I think he can improve on. We're going to see, from that start here, he did have a little bit of wasted motion with that front arm. We want to just be able to pull that arm straight back, drop that front knee, and drive through here. He did pick up a good amount of distance per step here and landed on that front foot very effectively. 0.44 seconds is when he hits the ground. And then he actually doesn't push off until about 0.64 seconds, right? So he spends a little bit longer time on the ground there. Now, one of the things that he can get away with is he is 6'3", so he's going to be picking up a lot more distance per step. And he also does a good job of when he pushes off. So, he pushes off at 0.64 and he lands with that second step at 0.69. Right, so he was able to pick up a good amount of distance from that first step and that push off of the first step. So you can end up, we talk a lot about spending 0.17 seconds on the ground, right? But you can end up going and picking up more distance, right? And then spending a little bit more time on the ground, right? So he only spent 0.03 of a second more. That's not a lot of time more, but it is a little bit more time. But he also had more time with that foot up off the ground, right? So he's really reaching. He's putting a focus on that here. Lands at 0.695. And then spends a good amount of time on the ground here as well. Doesn't get off until 0.88, right? So that's a 0.19. So his first two steps, he has a very, very long foot contact time, and he's utilizing that to be able to pick up more distance per step, right? So a lot of guys, that are going to be running this are going to be, 6'2", 6'1", are going to be the average for, more of those receiver defensive back types or under, right? And they're not going to be able to have the luxury of spending so much time on the ground. The reason he's able to do this is because of, his size and how tall he is, right? So now he's landing on this one. Again, he spends a good amount of time here off the ground. 0.88. And then he lands at 0.94, right? So another 0.06 of a second. A lot of times guys are getting that foot down a little bit quicker, right? And so he's really picking up a lot of distance here, but he's maintaining great knee angles as he's doing it, right? And he's staying nice and tall within those feet. Still an excellent job there, okay? 0.96 is when he lands. So really he's spending 0.08. That was a mistake there. So he lands at 0.96, and then he's off there at 108, right? So that was only 0.12. So now he's back into really maximizing that turnover, and that was his fourth step. So his fourth step landed at like 5.5 yards. Sixth step landed at 9 yards. Seventh step landed at 11 yards, right? So really a goal a lot of times with guys is to be able to get to 10 yards in 7 steps, right? He got to 11 yards in 7 steps, right? And then we're going to go here, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Another big thing, 11 steps for 12 yards. Again, a lot of guys struggle to get to 20 yards, 20 yards in 12 steps. He just got to 20 yards in 11 steps. Okay, so if you spend more time on the ground, you can get away with it, but you got to be picking up more distance. Okay, so how did he pick up more distance? He put a focus on horizontal movement through the knees, right? Look at how much more distance he's getting per step. He's spending more time off the ground, right? So at these beginning steps, a lot of times there's a lot of quickness, a lot of turnover. He's not as much quick as he is long. Okay, he's 6'3", so he could use that length to his advantage, which is what he did, to really pick up a lot more distance per step. So at 11 steps, he's at 20 yards. Okay, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and a half. So really his top end speed could have gotten better as well, probably, because he didn't pick up a lot of distance per step here. He did a great job within those first 20 yards, but then that last 20, you know, it took him about 8.5 steps to get there, where, you know, based off his height, it probably should have taken him 18. He probably should have only used 19 steps there, to be honest, right? If he was really picking up, you know, as much distance and really utilizing some of that same horizontal force production, right? That would really help him being able to get to that top end speed. But yeah, this just shows that this guy has a lot of potential to be able to really improve his speed overall, right? Let's take a look at his numbers here with his foot contact time. We'll go a little bit further into it so we can see more top speed. We'll go here. So he's landing at about 9.3, off a little bit after 0.03, but about 0.03. So he's a little bit above 0.1, right? So he could end up getting that time down. Okay, Usain Bolt is at like 0.08 at 6'5", right? So he's spending a little bit less time on the ground, really optimizing his turnover. And then from here, let's see, we'll go with the 0.03. And he lands back down at 0.33, right? So he's only spending 0.3 seconds off the ground, okay? Which, again, so Usain Bolt is closer to 0.35, so he's picking up more distance, right? So he pushes off here with that left leg at, what, the 34, and he lands a little bit under the 44, so that's not bad. It looks like he's picking up, you know, a good amount of distance per step. He's not super limited there, but at the same time, you know, he's just spending a little bit too much time on the ground. His turnover time, you know, is not bad. We can maybe get a little bit more reach within that turnover time, but if we maintain that 0.3 and really make it so he spends less time on the ground, he could still cut down some of that time there, right? So he definitely has the potential to run faster than a 4.28. But, you know, this gives a little bit of clarity of what he did in order to get, you know, that elite time. Very, very fast guy. Very, very, you know, powerful, and, you know, has a great start for somebody that is as big and long as he is, which is really, really impressive. And I think, you know, that should transfer over really well into the NFL. So I think he's going to really have a great, you know, opportunity to have a lot of success. You know, obviously it's hard to predict these types of things, but, you know, I think that he's somebody that could really make a big difference, and somebody that I think a lot of, you know, teams should go after. He's got size, he's got speed, and a lot of it, you know, he'll be able to just build on, and he had success at Baylor. So, you know, it's not like it's somebody that hasn't been able to show that he could play at a high level. He's just somebody that, you know, maybe going into it didn't get as much notoriety. But, you know, running 4.28 definitely puts you on the map, or 4.21 unofficial, you know, definitely gets your attention. So did a great job of doing that. As always, guys, if you like the information, go and click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or recommendations, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and put in the link down below our Run Faster 40 in 4 weeks. We put a big focus on the technical side of this, whether you're 5'10", 6'1", 6'3", offensive lineman, defensive lineman, you know, running back, receiver, defensive back. We take everything into consideration when it comes to maximizing your speed and maximizing your 40. But what this is really showing us here is that teams are going to put a big focus on how fast are you running the 40. And with guys running 4.2, 4.3 now, right, like you really have to be running in the 4.5, 4.6 in order to get noticed. If you run a 4.5, 4, like a linebacker going into a combine in high school or college and running 4.6, that makes a big difference. Or same thing, you know, running a 4.5. We can do that for you. We can help you run these times, but you have to understand where are you at from a number perspective, so then you know what exercise to do, what drills to do, how to be able to really perfect your start, your drive, your top end speed to make it so you can actually run these times. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that you're able to pick up the right amount of distance, spend the right time on the ground, and the right time off the ground to really make it so you can run as fast as you can. So check out the link down below in order to get started and find out a little bit more information. As always, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.